Hello, friends. Hello. And welcome to this special Solstice episode of the show. We have an interesting topic today. What does the universe want from you right now? What does the universe need from you or need you to do right now? That is the topic of this Solstice special healing and activations. Before we get into all of that, let me wrap us all in love light and light love, inviting in the spirit guides who overlight this show, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, Pleiadians, as I ask them to swoop in and help guide the guidance for everyone. I think it's a very interesting time right now. Before I grab any cards or anything like that, just the current energies are obviously around the solstice time, a time of rest and reflection. And I know you can't see this, but I've got our transformation candle lit and an incense called Hawaiian High. Smells really good. And I've been pondering this question now for probably the past couple of weeks. Like, universe, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? And so I thought it would be good for all of us. If I'm thinking that, then chances are you are too. It feels like there's they're saying divine reassign, like some maybe reassignments coming up in terms of the collective and things that people are going to be focused on, especially our bringers to the light, whatever you call it. We call ourselves bringers to the light. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here for a while, you're my bringers of the light workers, light warriors, earth angels, grid keepers, gatekeepers. Please excuse my voice. I'm still not over this. It's some cellular regeneration thing, but it just sounds like I've had a cold for ever since before Thanksgiving. It's still here. So, I haven't been creating as much as I wanted to either. So I was telling my son today, I'm like, since November just feels like I haven't been able to do anything I really want to do. All my time is spent just doing what needs to be done to get by in daily life. I can't explain it. And so when this winter rolled around here, which started here, I don't know when it started getting cold, but in November, we got really hard hit with a lot of snow. And I started to get panicky because I thought I wasn't going to have to be here during the winter. And so the universe kind of threw me a little face your fears curveball. And it's taken all of my focus and energy to be able to just function every day, dealing with this winter that we're having here. It's negative 21 degrees Fahrenheit right now when I'm recording this. And there's some big storm coming. And so each day I just wake up I want to get my work done, my creative work done, but it's all I can focus on is how many layers I have to put on for the multiple times I have to go outside to take my dog out and to take care of other things around the house, without fear of freezing to death. And so every day I've been what more do you want? What more do you want from me? Universe, haven't I already given enough of myself to stuff. Like, now you want to come in and you want to, like, bombard me with this extra stress when it's like, aren't we supposed to not be feeling stressed out? And so it's a double-edged sword, they're saying, because sometimes fears have to be faced in order to overcome them, no matter what it is. Like, this just isn't my story about my fear of, if they're saying it's not a fear. They're calling it, they're saying you have a phobia. I have a phobia of extreme weather. I really do. It's not just this cold. It happens when the heat goes over a certain temperature too. I get very anxious. So Spirit's like, you're going to face your fears. You're going to be fine. Obviously, they're like, oh, how Spirit's always like, we're taking care of you or whatever. But they are making me be here in this, it's the most, I just can't even, I just can't even. It's very shocking, having lived the majority of my life in the South, in South Texas. This is just crazy to me. And I told Spirit, I'm like, if I do this, I don't ever want to be back here in the winter ever again. And every time I keep telling them, like, why did you bring me here? They just keep saying, it's Banff, you're supporting Banff. And I'm like, okay, great. So I don't know if you guys maybe are, they're saying that you are, like, you may be feeling like out of sorts and displaced. And what am I doing? Or things may be coming up in your reality for you to face. It may not be, my phobia of extreme weather. It may be something else for you. Obviously, it wouldn't be something else for you. About facing your fears. And you may feel like you're in a space of, like, I just feel like it's like, haven't I given enough? What more do you want from me? Like, can you please squeeze blood from a turnip? And they just keep saying, like, this is going to make you stronger. This is going to make you stronger. And I'm like, yeah, or I don't know. So I just want to pull some cards overall, and then maybe do a little pick a card about how these current energies are working with you and what the universe is expecting from you. So I feel like for me, they're like, we want you to face your fears, but we don't want you to stop doing what you love, because you're fine. It's like, you're fine. They just keep telling me, you're fine. You're going to make it through. Everything's okay. It's like, it's bigger in my head than it really is. So for example, I was out driving around. I have to like go out each day, like just drive around town a little bit, because we have like such intense snow. I just like to get out and like be around the town and see what's going on. It was negative, I don't know what it was early today, negative 15 at Fahrenheit. And there was people walking around, like, there was somebody pumping gas in like a t-shirt and just pants, like no layers at all, just like a t-shirt and pants. And I'm like, maybe, I mean, obviously I'm not overreacting, but I had like 4 layers of clothing on. And my son's like, Mom, it's because we're not acclimated to this weather, and these people have lived here all their life, and it's like not as bad for them. And I'm like, this is insane. So anyway, that has been my past couple of months. It's just like in just really at some points I've like in terror over the impending weather. And each day I wake up, I don't like huddle under my covers. Like, I got to get up and I've got stuff I got to do. So let's just see for everybody else, like that's enough about me and my weather fears. Let's grab a deck and just see. I'm going to grab the Nordic, what is it called? The Magical Nordic Tarot, because I like the messages on this one. And Pleiadian Power. And I know you can't see the cards, but you don't necessarily have to see them. And we're going to see if there's light language that wants to come in, or any other healing or activations. we're just going to get an overall collective message, because it's like there's two, it's not that there's two worlds, because I feel like if you're listening to this, you're in the higher relational reality that we've been working with Gaia for, most of this year. Like most of us have leveled up and we're not living kind of down in the 3D, in the lower vibrational part. But there's these energy streams you can kind of tap into, and they can kind of pull you out of how you're feeling and raise your vibration enough to where you can kind of see beyond some of what's in front of you. So like I said, for example, every day I just look at the weather like 10 times on my phone, and I'm so focused on that, like what's the weather going to do next? I have to be prepared. I have to be prepared to be prepared. And if I'm doing something like this or anything, so Spirit's like anything to take your mind off of, obviously you need to tend to something. So like if something was really going wrong around here, I would obviously tend to it. Like, if something happened, I don't want to name anything specifically, but if something happened that was something imminent that I needed to deal with, I would deal with it. But I don't have to constantly be ruminating and thinking about, because my thing is like I'm constantly ruminating about all the things that could go wrong in this situation. And it's like, we don't need to go there. Obviously, law of attraction, right? And 9 times out of 10, the things you're ruminating about are not going to happen, right? And I think that is, in a way, some of how Spirit protects us is if I spend the majority of my time focused on what if this happened, and what if this is going to happen, what if that's going to happen, I'm just creating little thought magnets of all of these things that I don't want. I don't want these things to occur, so why do I have to keep thinking about them? So one way, because Spirit keeps telling me, you need to work on gratitude, you need to work on gratitude. And I'm like, I'm grateful. And they're like, it's not just the fact that you're grateful for what you have. It's a spiritual, gratitude is like a spiritual technology, and it will shift your vibration to a higher octave and get you out of whatever mindset you're in. And shift you and bring you up and raise your vibration. So it's not just because I see people like, well, just make like 500, gratitude list of like 500 things, all these things. It's like, it's not, it is, but it's more an in the moment thing. Like if I catch myself going down the rabbit hole of something I shouldn't be thinking about or don't need to be thinking about, then if I immediately switch to, okay, stop. This is part of self-mastery too. Like, okay, stop. I don't need to be doing that right now. So kind of like parenting yourself from your higher self, like your higher self parenting your I don't want to call it lower self, but your higher self parenting yourself, your physical, mental, and emotional selves. Your higher self can say like, okay, stop. We don't need to be doing that right now. And then shift. Okay, what's the fastest way to shift? Go to gratitude. All right, what am I grateful for right now in this moment? All the things that are going right. And I don't know about you, but I found this too. This is another thing, another core thing I'm really working hard on is I grew up around a lot of pessimistic people. Like my maternal grandmother and my mom were very, everything was pessimistic and negative, to the negative side of things. So that's what I'm used to hearing, and I kind of have to switch myself out of that too. And so I'm really working hard. Like I could hear on the show, you guys are probably like, what are you talking about? You're not pessimistic. And it's like, no, it's not so much pessimistic. It's kind of like more like again, thinking to all the things that could go wrong instead of all the things that could go right. And it's more not external. Like you won't see that from me externally, like in the way I communicate with someone externally. Sometimes it's there. Or sometimes people I know are like, you worry too much. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's part of this. But it's a lot of more the internal self-talk can tend to go towards the pessimistic rather than optimistic side. So it's something I'm aware of. It's something I'm really working hard on to like switch it every time I catch myself going there, switching it. If I have like a negative self-talk, I'll switch, and I catch myself, stop. What's the optimistic part or side of that thing that you're thinking about? And then what's some things right now in this current reality, right here, right now in front of me that I can be grateful for? And that will like switch it. So this is like extreme self-mastery. Extreme self-mastery in that you have to be able to like pull yourself up to your higher self and see what you're doing and be like, okay, we don't need to be, even with your physical self, like, okay, I already had 3 cookies. I don't need 5 or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's going like somebody must really like their cookies. So let me just see if there's anything else. All right. They said now it's time for cards. So we're going to use these 3 decks to just draw some overall cards. If there's anything I haven't already touched on this, what does the universe want from you? So I think there's already some things right there that we talked about. One is the self-parenting, and trying to always find the brighter side or the silver lining kind of mindset, which can be challenging when you're in situations where you feel like it's not where you want to be, right? So many of you I know, and I've talked to some of you offline, it's kind of like, well, I don't want to be in this place, or I don't want to be in this job, or I don't want to be in this role. I want to be doing this, this, and this. And it's like, yes. So when that happens, then you're already in a mind state of not really lack, but yeah, like something's lacking because there's a certain part or area of your life that's not what you would want it to be. And right there, that can then turn your mood to more of a lower vibrational state. And it's like, how can we remain with the positive mindset and the uplifting vibes, even when because I just cannot believe, I don't think that there's anyone out there whose life is 100% everything they want it to be, because that just seems like that's perfection. And like, you wouldn't need to be on the planet anymore, because you would have reached this state where every single thing is perfect. I just don't think there is. I think that because we're here to learn and to grow, that no matter where you are in your life, I'm sure that there's always at least one thing that's not what you want it to be. So it could be a big thing or it could be a small thing, but I don't think that there's anybody out there that can say that every single thing is exactly how they want it to be. Because isn't that like Abraham Hicks and Esther, or Esther Hicks and Abraham always say, like, you never stop manifesting. And part of manifesting is, right, like noticing that there's this contrast of like something you don't want helps you realize that there's something that you do want. So there's always going to be contrast, because that's like Abraham says, you're never done manifesting ever. You'll never finish like having a need or a want for something. So if that's the case, then how do you switch your self-talk and your mindset to being joyful and happy no matter what is going on. I know there's people that have mastered this. I don't think I'm there yet. I'm definitely not there yet. Okay, let's first pull. Let's just see what else we want to say to friends here that are listening. I'm looking at this magical Nordic tarot deck first. This is like collectively, out of all the things I've just talked about, is there anything else? Like, universe, what do you want from me? Because I feel like just keep saying that. Like, what more do you want from me? I just feel like I'm so, like, drained. Okay, we got the Hierophant, knowledge. We just talked about this. This is card number 5. That we're always learning, always growing. So, universe, what do you want from me? The first thing that comes out is the Hierophant, and the key word on this card is knowledge. And to always be striving to better yourself. And there's always on the Hierophant card like 2 people kind of looking up at like a larger, it could be the higher self, but everybody's got like very activated crown chakras. So I feel like we're going to get a lot of confirmations to what we just said. It's like, you came to this planet to learn. You're never going to stop learning. You're never going to stop growing. Because I think it was even earlier today, I was like, there's been several times so far where I've been like, that's it. I'm done with this journey. I think earlier today I was kind of like, why did I ever get on this stupid spiritual path to begin with? There's just days lately where I'm just like, I've had enough. I've just had enough. But we're never learning. We never stop learning. We never stop growing. And we never stop striving, I guess, to better ourselves. Because that's part of what the spiritual path is all about, is like becoming your highest version of yourself. So, universe, what do you want from me? They're saying, don't stop learning and growing and striving to become the best version of yourself. Now, how does that apply to situations like what I just talked about, where I was like, I don't want to be doing this. I've got to get my water. I want to be doing something else. I'm sure I'm recording here. And Spirit's like, and they just keep telling me, just keep going. I think they mean keep going in more than one sense. Like, keep going, just keep talking. Because the more I channel and talk about it, then the more we get our questions answered. But it's also to like keep going and don't give up. And we say we give up, but I really just don't think we ever can. Once you've committed to the spiritual journey, I just don't see how you give up. I just don't see how you do. All right, let's get one more of these Nordic tarot cards. All right, is there anything else? What do you want from me? What do you want from our tribe here that's listening to this? We got the Ace of Swords, which is clarity. Now, when I get the Ace of Swords card, it always is indicative of Archangel Michael to me. But why are you saying clarity? So they want me to pull a clarifier for clarity. So I'm going to use my deck, which is my handmade deck, which is the Labyrinth of Dragonshire. So, universe, what do you want from me? One fell out. Clarity. So with the Ace of Swords, we got the card of strong boundaries. Universe, what do you want from me? Clarity. Strong boundaries. I feel like there's one more card that wants to come out. Card number 11. You're creating your own reality right now. Watch out. So I think what they're saying there is what they want from you is for you to be clear about what you want. the Ace of Swords to me also reminds me of like this sword of truth. So being honest with yourself about what you want from your life, from this now moment, and having clear intentions with this. You're creating your own reality right now. Watch out. Be careful what you wish for or what you don't wish for. Because right now I'm sitting around and like I said, I told my son, like, I feel like I'm just like sitting here, like there's so many projects I want to work on. And, but do I have clear intentions about what I want to do right now? No, I feel very like muddled about what I want to work on. I just have this big giant list of things and it's like, I don't even know where to start. And he's so funny because I told him that and I swear it was like 30 or 45 minutes later. And he's like, remember when you were talking about that earlier? And I'm like, wow, was he really pondering it this whole time? And he's like, I think right now, he doesn't really know anything about like solstices and all that, but he's very, very intuitive. And he says, I feel like right now is a time for reflection and sitting back and just kind of, relaxing and being quiet. I was like, oh my God, he's totally got like the intent of the solstice time period, especially the winter solstice where we're at here in the Northern Hemisphere. So I think, what does the universe want from you right now? I want you to be clear in your intentions. And for strong boundaries, I do feel like it's not all just sitting around reflecting, because action does need to be taken. And that's kind of sometimes where it's like they're saying like time management. Being a former IT project manager for 15 plus years, it's funny, my time management is lacking right now. But I think for me, like with the shortened daylight, I just feel like I wake up and it's dark. And so I wait for daylight, for it to get a little bit warmer outside, like getting a little bit warmer, for it to go from negative 21 to negative 15. It doesn't even do that. But I mean, I wait for this, if the sun's going to come out, I wait for the sun to come up so I can take my dog out when it's not so frigid. And there's so much gear we have to put on. And then it's dark by 4:45 and I'm like, uh-oh, there's my day. And it's like, well, it's not really your day, right? You've got from 4:45 till, I don't know, whatever time it is now, 7 or 8 o'clock at night, 9, whatever time I go to bed. It's like you could carve out 30 minutes or an hour to work on your creative stuff after that, right? So strong boundaries around your intentions, meaning, you give all of your day to other things. Can you carve out that hour or so for yourself somewhere in your day, anywhere, somewhere, to just get something done for you? And we're not even talking about self-care. I'm talking about in addition to self-care. So we're not talking about like getting on your yoga mat, or maybe we are for some people, like getting on your yoga mat, going and taking a walk. I can't even take a freaking walk anymore because like you can't be outside here with me personally, I don't know what other people that have lived here all their lives do, but I can't be outside for more than 5 or 10 minutes right now because of the cold. It's just too intense. And I'm telling you, I've got like 4 or 5 layers on. What are those things called? Balaclavas, the face coverings. I've got 2 of those. I have to have 2 of those and a hat, 2 pairs of gloves. I'm just telling you, so many layers, and I can only be outside for about 10 minutes at a time because of the cold is just too intense. So, I'm rambling, but they want you to be clear. I don't know what this has to do with me, but I'm just drawing on this personal experience right now to kind of help you with some examples. But strong boundaries is like, okay, I really want to get this podcast episode done. I really want to write a chapter in whatever book I'm deciding I need to work on. I really want to finish this card deck. okay, I've spent the whole day taking care of everybody else. I'm going to take an hour whenever, and I'm not going to let any interruptions come in, and I'm going to do whatever it is I need to do for myself. If it's a project or a creative project, or like maybe for some of you a self-care thing, not giving in to other things during that time and allowing yourself that time. Because I find when I don't do my creative work, or even when I don't do this show, I just feel which is my service work. Like this show is my service work, my service to you guys. There's other things I do that are service to Gaia, grid work and gate work and all that. But this is like my service, part of my service work for the collective. And I find when I don't do it, I feel much more dissatisfied than I do right now. I just feel like this disharmony in my being, like when I can't create and when I can't come and hang out with you guys and share healing or share teachings or just, share what I feel collectively the people that are going to hear this are needing to hear right now. So Spirit, the second thing they want you to do is be clear on what you want, have a clear plan, and have strong boundaries around getting those things accomplished. Okay, so I feel like there's one more set of things. Let's see, we're going to draw from Pleiadian Power. It's like, okay, what's the last little thing you want? Oh, you gave me a whole bunch of cards. What do you want from these folks here? Oh my God, this is just what we were talking about. 3 cards just kind of popped out together. The first one is forward motion. Projects aren't going to finish themselves. Time to get moving. Full moon. Truths are being revealed about this situation. And this is an archangel, or not an archangel, this is an angel card. It's don't stop believing. What is this all about? Okay, projects aren't going to finish themselves. Time to get moving is forward motion. So forward motion. I feel like there's no blocks right now. So this is kind of a continuum to what we just talked about. Because I think some of you are maybe saying like, well, there's blocks or there's obstacles. I can't get around those to do what you just talked about because of X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, Spirit is saying here with these cards that came out that things are in forward motion right now. Even though I believe we are coming up on a Mercury retrograde here, they're like, they said don't use that as an excuse. They're saying don't use that as an excuse. The full moon card is saying, again, there's light being shed. It goes back to the clarity card on all the things you want. So I feel like if you're a little bit up in the air about, because I think that could be used as a excuse to not get moving. So for example, like me, I don't know how many books started now that are just like sitting out there like 4, 5, 6, 10, 15 chapters written. I think I have a list of like 15, 20 books. And I'm working on like 6 or 7 card decks. And the Spirit's like, don't use like, I don't know where to start as an excuse to not get going. Just pick something. Just pick anything. And that's where I get hung up a lot, I think, is like analysis paralysis. Like, well, which one? Well, which would be the best one to work on next? Well, which one should I do? Like, I don't know. And so I just don't do anything because I don't have this like feeling like, that I really feel like, motivated for this one. But the thing is that until you're very clear about what you want to do, then the universe doesn't really know how to support you. So if I sit here as just I'll just keep using myself as this example. If I sit here with this list of 20 unfinished books and I'm like, well, I don't know which one I want to do. And I just continue to say that and I don't ever pick, then Spirit is not going to pick for me. They're not going to pick for you. They're not going to say, well, just give her this one to do. I'm going to have to just put my foot down and have strong boundaries with myself and say, okay, I'm going to pick whatever. I don't even know which one. Powerball. I need to finish freaking Powerball. 20 some odd chapters in, we need to get this one done. Once I'm very clear that I want to finish Powerball, which by the way, should have been finished a long time ago, then the universe can help support me get that done. So if I have like the strong boundaries, if I set, like, okay, an hour a day, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to channel Powerball. Then the universe is going to, your guides, whatever you want to call it, God, source, angels, they're going to help you carve out that time and get that thing done. So there's no obstacles right now holding you back other than your inability to make a decision to move forward is what they're saying. And I think with the Don't Stop Believing card, I think there is this, don't stop believing in your dreams and your wishes that that they're not coming true, because I feel like that is the other thing that stumps me a little, or kind of stops me, is I'm like, well, no, I don't personally feel like there's forward motion in, a particular area of my work externally. So I just stopped working because I'm like, nobody's looking at this stuff. No one cares. And then I lose that forward motion or that momentum of what Spirit's doing to help behind the scenes, which could be things like helping to move work forward externally, creating energy streams or timelines where things are moving forward. But if I just stop altogether because I don't believe anything's happening, then Spirit kind of takes the work of that thing being done potentially could take a back seat in terms of the work that Spirit's doing, because then they think that you kind of are going to switch gears. And so they're like, oh, don't know. So this is not, this what I'm talking about right here, this like Spirit doesn't know what to do next because you've kind of stopped your forward motion, is different from like a fated destiny type of a timeline situation. So if something is fated to happen as part of your soul plan, as part of your destiny, part of the wheel of fortune turning, part of the fates kind of working behind the scenes, that's something totally different. So I'm going to be pretty clear on that. Because if there's some quantum jump in your soul plan that's coming to fruition at some point in the future, like that's not going to stop being created behind the scenes just because you are wishy-washy. Fated things are going to happen. This is more your goals and intentions for smaller things in your life. But that doesn't mean like just because a bigger thing hasn't happened yet, or they keep saying they're calling it like a fated thing, it hasn't happening yet, doesn't mean that the work on it has stopped. So that's where this Don't Stop Believing. So there's kind of two things with this set of 3 cards is like, get going on the things that you have control over. If it's projects, it's things where you can take action on whatever it is. Like I'm just saying projects because for me, that's my creative work is my projects. But for you, it could be something else. It could be a fitness plan, a dietary change, a new job, moving to a new location, those kind of things. But fated things are usually larger scale in nature, and you have less control over them because other people or circumstances might be involved that are outside of your control. And for those, that's kind of where you need to have the don't stop believing. Just because, like, I want to understand, like, just because, okay, so saying use a relationship as an example. So you've wished for a new relationship in your life. And you're wishing for it because it's a destined part of your soul plan that at some point in the future, you have this new relationship that's going to come in. Now, if you stop believing that a relationship's coming in because maybe you think it's taking too long, it doesn't mean that it's stopped altogether, they're saying. But it does mean that forward motion could be delayed a little bit because your hesitancy to believe then affects the energy stream that Source is working on for your behalf and could cause delays and push things out further because any other parties involved can feel that there's this lack of forward motion in your mindset about this thing that's going to happen. So I think we had this discussion once before about timelines not being set in stone. And I don't think that that's something we want to go into here. That could be like it's a whole other show. So let me just stop right there. And I think, is there anything else I want to say on these? All right. I think that's pretty clear. Now we're going to do a little pick a card on how these are impacting you personally, like some extra little messages. I'm not time stamping this, so let's see. I'm just going to pick 3 cards from the Nordic Tarot and do a pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. So let's see, I'm going to get 3 cards. 1, 2, and 3. And one from this Labyrinth of Dragonshire. And now you can pick your pile, either pile 1, pile 2, or pile 3. And I'm going to start with pile 1. So these are additional messages for you. You may be guided to one pile, all piles, some or all, I don't know. This is anything additional. And there's going to be some light language with each one of these as well. So in addition to what we've already talked about on this solstice evening, for pile 1, we got the 2 of Cups. Oh gosh, of course. Union. And the card number 7, all is not as it seems. Illusions surround you. Wait. And the card has like a big A on the front. Looks like a fan. Excuse me. Spirit, what do you want people with pile 1 to know about this? They're saying this is the fated meeting I just talked about at the end of the collective message for those of you that are waiting to meet someone special. Just because it hasn't happened yet, just because there's no evidence in your physical reality that anything is happening, doesn't mean that this is not coming. And I just keep seeing the words, you wait. With the 3 dots have been following me everywhere again. And there's some of you that we've had offline conversations about these 3 dots. But this thing that's standing out to me on the card that says all is not as it seems, illusions surround you, is you wait, and the ... is all about divine timing. All you're doing right now is you have to wait. And the ... to me is like spirit, like co-creation and divine timing and divine intervention and divine protection. Those 3 dots have different meanings, but right now that's what they're meaning. And they're saying that all you need to do right now is wait. Don't give up hope. Don't stop believing. This person that you're waiting for is coming. And is there any light language we need to do for this one? Okay, no healing there, other than your favorite, have patience in divine timing. Okay, pile number 2. We got the Page of Cups with playfulness. Oh my gosh, I need to take some water. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Playfulness. And we got the card, card number 22, boundaries, 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 with 3 stars. So we have boundaries 3 times, and there we go again. It's not 3 dots, but it's 3 stars. So what do people... Yeah. A lot of times the 3 dots for me too can be the Awen from Druidry. It's called Awen, A-W-E-N. That's kind of their word for, to me, if I had to think of like another way, it'd be like the muse, like creativity, the muse, inspiration coming in. And for you, pile 2s, out of all the messages we've already talked about, I think you may feel like you have like a creative block or a block to living your passions, doing creative work, or living your dreams. Like you just feel like maybe your mojo is kind of lacking right now. And they're saying that it's because you're being way too serious about your life right now. And until you kind of let your inner child come out and play a little bit, then you're going to continue to feel like you're blocked. You're not really blocked, but because you're so serious, it's like the muse comes in when you're in a very open, receptive, not necessarily childlike, but more like the fool kind of energy, like ready for new adventures, ready for new beginnings, open, receptive. And if you're letting other things, that's where this boundaries card comes in. If you're letting other things impact you, like it's just all goes back to my story. I've just been telling about my life right now. It's like if I continue to worry about the weather and I don't like set that aside and do something playful and fun, then I'm going to continue to feel like stifled and blocked, and like that creative passion just isn't there. Like a bah humbug, like a Scrooge feeling. Like I can't explain it, but I think that's part of it for me is like I don't even feel creatively inclined to do anything right now because my mind is just constantly focused on what's happening outside. So if you can set that aside, so if you're in pile 2 and it's 2, the card 2 came out, then you've got to be able to set aside some time to play, no matter what that means for you. It would be great if you could get outside. Like today I did get outside. I went, our park is plow, like, well, there's multiple parks, but there's a big one and they do plow it. And so I was able to drive through it because we've had so much snow. Like we've had, I don't even know. The snow is like in my front yard is like waist deep now. Maybe waist and maybe hip deep. I shouldn't say waist deep. It's probably like up to over my boots to the like mid leg. So, but I was able to get to the park and just kind of see the park and kind of walk around for 10 minutes. So I had to leave the car running with the heat on and walk around for 10 minutes and then get back in with the dog because of the cold. But do something playful, like even in your house, like run around, like sometimes chase my dog around the house, like anything, right? To get your creativity flowing. Okay, and if you are, oh wait, let me just ask, is there any healing work that needs to be, okay, that is the healing work for you, is you have to get back into a playful, like calm, a receptive state and be open to like magic and new adventures and the muse coming in to delight you. I don't know. They said it's different for everyone, like how that happens, so that there's not really any one quote unquote prescription I can give you for how that happens for you. But whatever it is for you, like do more of that. And that will help you bring in that wonder again, that childlike fun for the things that you love to do. Okay, pile number 3. Pile number 3. You got the forward motion card. This is the second time now this is coming up. We got this in the collective reading. So number 9, this card is 18, which went to a 9. Forward motion and the 5 of Cups with hope. So I feel like if you picked pile 3, you may have maybe picked all the piles or one of the other ones. And this is all about optimism. I sound good, just telling myself. All about optimism and faith, because it still looks like things are moving forward, even though they're not seeming that way in your outward reality. This is almost exactly like those last 3 cards that came up in the collective reading. It's like things are moving forward, even though it seems like they're not in your outward reality. And just don't give up hope. So when I read these messages to you guys who are listening to this, it tells me, A, I'm not alone. Like everybody out there that hears this, and probably obviously more people that wouldn't be listening to this podcast, are kind of in this similar situation right now. This similar, like, it's like we're getting ready to make a quantum timeline jump. And I heard it's over the next 7 weeks. Intrinsically, over that period of time, you're going to like shift to a higher vibrating timeline path on your journey. And it's just going to kind of like, what's the word? Like, not overtake you. They said it's just kind of like you're going to get swept up in it. Not like in a bad way, but like sometimes when we go to a timeline jump, a quantum jump, it's more like you're passing through a portal. And I see myself like with, like a pillar on either side or whatever, and I'm like stepping over a threshold. This is a little bit different in that it's a kind of a relational reality shift to where the momentum is just going to keep pulling you forward, collectively too being pulled forward, Gaia being pulled forward into this higher reality. And you're going to get swept up in that and kind of carried along, almost like riding a wave, so to speak. So it's different than stepping over a threshold. It's like this higher relational reality wave of incoming light codes is going to be available, and you're just, with clear intention that that's what you want, you're just going to be able to be kind of swept along and kind of be carried along with it as if you were riding a wave. So that's coming, and you're being asked to not give up hope on your dreams, your wishes, your desires, even though Spirit is acknowledging here that some are taking longer than usual to manifest. Why is that? Why is that? I want to know why. Things are taking, for some of us, myself included, things are taking longer than usual to manifest. And this is why. There's things, it's almost like they're saying that there were opportunities in this kind of downtime before this reality wave that I'm talking about, for you to do some cleanup work at the soul level. And so rather than bring in what you want now, because I do keep hearing there's a way shower out there, Liz on Guided by Angels, and she keeps saying, I've heard her say it many, many, many times. Somebody else was saying this too, like everything you wanted in 2022 is coming in 2023. And to my pessimistic side, I just lately have been like, yeah, whatever, when I hear that, because I've feel like I've been waiting so long, like not 1 year, but years and years for certain things, to where lately when I don't get hung up with time frames anymore, like, these things that say like, oh, in 7 days this is going to happen, or 30 days this is going to happen. Like, just don't buy into that anymore, because that is just on the higher realities, higher quantum levels. It's just not how it works. So don't buy into any of those types of timeline promises. But it does seem like 2022 was there's this opportunity here at the end to where Spirit could have delivered your wishes and granted things early, but there was this opportunity for you to do some additional soul growth that was really a benefit to you at the soul level. And so you were they said redirected. I just wanted to say misdirected. You were redirected in a sense to kind of do this cleanup work first, which is where I kind of feel like I'm at with this whole facing my phobia of extreme weather. I just keep saying, thanks a lot. Because I did ask why are you doing this to me? And Spirit's, I'm just afraid of the cold, and Spirit's like, no, you have a phobia. And I said, well, how am I supposed to fix that? And they said the only way to fix it is desensitization. And so desensitization is basically exposure therapy, meaning you just got to get through it. You just got to do it, and you just got to make yourself face whatever your fear is. And I looked it up because I was like, desensitization, what are you talking about? And I looked at him for a psychology, some stuff on psychology about phobias and fears. And that is one of the main, short of giving me some sort of, I don't take any pill, any type of that, pills or drugs or anything like that, no prescriptions, nothing like that. Unless it was an emergency, extremely medically necessary, don't take anything. And short of giving me some sort of anti-anxiety medication, I'm like, what good is that going to do me? That's just like a Band-Aid on top of the problem. The only way from a psychology perspective to clear an extreme fear or phobia is through desensitization or exposure therapy. Although I was like, well, you didn't even let me kind of ease into this one. They just kind of threw me in. And so I feel like the older the soul that you are, the stronger the teachings, the stronger the lessons are, and to what you may feel may be harsh. You may call them harsh lessons, but from Spirit's perspective, they're more. They're saying they're learning opportunities. Sure. Sometimes I tell them, those of you that have never had a physical body, you don't know what you're doing. This is crazy. All right, so that's kind of moved on from pile 3, but pile 3 is kind of like, don't give up hope. Your stuff is still coming. It's just, they said it's going according to plan. All is well. Don't give up hope. And you kind of have to get out of the mindset of, I have to see it to believe it. Because, so somebody out there must be saying that, like, I'll believe it when I sometimes say that, like, I'll believe it when I see it. And it's like, we have to get more into that childlike wonder of knowing that it exists somewhere, which it does. All right, is there any healing that goes along with the third pile? All right, no, we're going to do some light language for everybody then. I'm starting to get tired. All right, let's do some light language for everybody along the lines of boosting your little spirits up. This is going to be light language that will be in effect, they said, for the next 72 hours. What it's going to do is it's going to open you up to that playfulness that was in pile 2, to believing without seeing, to hope and magic. Some of the magic of the season that we're in right now. If for anybody that celebrates the holidays, you know, just kind of like this magical sense of well-being that all is right in the world. And so for the next 72 hours after this light language, so it's going to just be this like creative muse, kind of dancing on clouds. Wow, this is great. Just do this light language every day. Dancing on freaking clouds. Oh, Lordy. Dancing on clouds. Feeling. That's great. Let's just do this light language. It's so amazing sounding. All right. Oh, it's Pleiadian. That's why. They can bring in the really high vibe, joyful states very quickly. Oh, they want me to stand up. I'm almost like laying down. Okay, so let's, maybe they want you to stand up too. Do they want people to stand up? I said either way, but I need to stand up. So, okay, this is not Pleiadian, but let's do this light language for everybody. Just boosting spirits. All my light warriors that are out there, you're not alone. Even those of us that you feel like are like not, I don't think anybody thinks that like our life's perfect. Anybody who thinks that like somebody else's life is perfect and theirs isn't, like everybody's got something going on right now, okay? Let's take a deep breath together. Hold. And exhale. Say I'm open and receptive to receiving this light language activation. And then we can just jump. And All right. Oh, I don't know where we're going with this. All right. Well, all right, guys. As I look at the frost that's on the inside of my windows right now, I want to thank you all for joining me. Let me just see if Spirit has anything else. Okay, they're saying that they are complete. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me on this solstice evening, hearing me diatribe, and hopefully it's helped you in some way feel that you're not alone. Things are going to be okay. And we just need to be patient a little bit longer. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me. We will see you all again soon. Take care.